today's video, I wanted to have a go at making one of the characters from Strange World, and I had a go at Legend the dog. So I watched this the other week. My dog hated it because he barks at every dog on TV, but I loved it. I thought it was a great film, and I was just desperate to make something from it. So it's just a face cake this time. Maybe we'll have a go at making another one, but here's how I did it.
So you're going to want to start by printing yourself off a template, and you're going to want a cake board that's large enough for your template to fit on. I'm going to draw around this template now where I want the cake to sit. So you'll see I've gone slightly inside the lines of the dog's head. This is because when I ice it, it's going to get bigger than what I think. So I'm going to cut it just that tiny bit smaller to begin with. So I've got an 8-inch just vanilla cake here, and we're going to fill it with flavoured buttercream. So I'm just going to use some butter and some of this cherry Bakewell flavoured icing sugar inside. So just whip it up in your mixer, and we'll just put a layer of that between our cake. Let's pop our template on there and cut around. You do want a fairly sharp knife for this, otherwise the cake will just tear. I'm going to cut the little bottom section off the face, so I hit the bottom of his mouth, and then I'm going to cut off the top of the face. We've just got that nose bit, and then we're going to cut around sort of the longish bits of hair on the dog's head, and then we're going to put it back on our cake and cut around those lines, and we're going to cut out some cake sort of around the eye area so it's further in. It's deeper. The cake is deeper at that point, or shallower. No, is it shallower? It wants to dip in, the hair at the top of the head wants to stick out more. So just using a balling tool to press in a little bit where the eyes are, and then let's cut a bit more shape now around the hair section. So dipping in at the parting and at the edges. Let's put a bit of buttercream on the nose, and then I've cut out some more cake in the shape of the nose. Then you're going to use all your offcuts, and we're going to build up a body there under the head. So just keep placing your template back on there so you know whereabouts to cut. And we're just sort of rounding off all the edges of sort of around that nose and mouth area. I'm just going to add some more of those tiny cake offcuts just sort of to the edge of his hair. Let's do a bit more trimming around the nose. So I've marked an oval with the knife for the actual nose, and then we're just going to cut around the outer edge of that so the nose sticks out a bit. I'm going to add some more cake offcuts just for the nose to stick out. You'll see all the cake offcuts have now been added to like the nose and the ears, and you can see from the side you want the nose to stick out more than the rest of the face, and the ears are not as thick, they're not very high up from the board. So once you've done that, you can cover the whole thing in a layer of buttercream. If your cake starts to crumble, guys, you can stick it in the fridge a little bit just to firm it up, and then you'll find it won't crumble quite as much when you're adding the buttercream. And it is quite tricky to get it around these shapes. So I'll pop that in the fridge. And in the meantime, I'm just mixing some modelling chocolate and fondant together. Now, it's going to make the fondant taste a bit nicer because it will taste of white chocolate. But also it should make it a little bit more pliable and easy to blend for me. So I've just put a little bit of brown paste in with this just to change the colour slightly. And we're going to roll it big enough to cover the whole of the face. Now I'm just pressing it on everywhere, and anywhere where there's an indentation I'm pressing a bit with my Dresden tool, and then press it a little bit firmer to make hairlines. Also, if you press really firmly, it will sort of cut through that fondant. So around where the edge of the board is there, I'm going to press firmly and tear that off. And what you will find is, if it's very cold like what it is where I'm working, the fondant and modelling chocolate mix, it might crack a little bit. You can see it has done where I'm putting the hairlines in at the top of the head. We can just patch that in with smaller, more warmed up pieces of the modelling chocolate and fondant mix. Same for around the nose. I've pressed a little bit hard and it's cracked a tiny bit, so we're just going to fill that back in. So use your template now. Have a look at anywhere that should be dipped in, and you're going to press those indentations in. So like a balling tool for the nostrils. I'm just using a round tipped piping nozzle to create texture on the nose. Some more hairlines in on the chest, just using the pointy end of my Dresden tool for this. Now, if your fondant and modelling chocolate mix does get too hard, you can get the hairdryer out and you can blow a bit of hot air on it, but not too much, otherwise it's going to melt that buttercream underneath. Let's put a little piece in for the gums. and then a flattened oval piece for the tongue. Let's draw some more hairlines in around that sort of muzzle area. Again, just looking at the image of Legend that I've got to hand to know what direction all those lines should go in, whether they should be long hairs or sort of shorter hairs. Then we'll roll some smaller pieces for around the nose. Let's try and cut a little hexagon. You could probably get a cutter the right shape for this, but I didn't have one to hand, so we've done it by hand. Then the fun part, the colouring. And I'm using dipping solution and powdered colours for this, so I've really diluted it down quite a lot. And we're painting it on, so it's quite runny, is this food colour. So it is all edible powders we're using for this, guys. And if you have it really runny, it's going to drip into those hairlines, so it should look darker in all those lines that you've pressed in nice and deep. And we're going to use brown and black. I'm using the Fractal Dust, and what I'll do is I'll put links below the video to all the products that I've used as well, so you can see what I have actually used. And of course you can buy different brands, whatever you want to use for it is absolutely fine. Because the powders are mixed with dipping solution, or you can use like clear alcohol, it evaporates quite quick, so these paints will dry fairly quick. So we're just darkening up around the nose, adding some pink into the mouth and on the tongue. So the more powder you add, the thicker the paint is going to look, the less transparent it's going to be. And then we're going to use a bit of silver powder mixed with the clear alcohol for his collar, or the tag on his collar. And you can just keep layering this up. You can actually use the dry powder on its own if you want. So here I'm using some brown edible powder and even a bit of white on there just to dust on top. So build up the layers of colour as you go along. Some white ovals of fondant in for the eyes, and then some smaller ovals of black flattened down for the pupils. I'm going to stick in a little bit of white. I have coloured around the iris as well. And let's just use some white food colour now to just highlight any bits we want to look that little bit lighter. So there he is, all finished. Just let him dry before you serve him. I did really enjoy this one.
I hope you enjoyed this video, guys, and I'd love to see your versions of Legend the dog. If you have a go at making it, don't forget you can tag me on Instagram and Facebook as well. I'd love to see what you guys have made. And I'm thinking maybe we have a go at making something else from Strange World. Maybe Splat, the blue thing, maybe? I did enjoy the film, I just want to make all the characters from it. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to click like and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this one.